you have to bear with me. I will taking you through some of the slides, which might be already repeat slides, which I will skip. If something is interesting, then I will elaborate. Yeah. Before going through these slides, I will just briefly explain what is the outline. So I will be taking you through the slides of what is Indian pharma industry's importance, and what is the importance of business continuity in pharma industry, and then how COVID pandemic impacted Indian industry, and then what are the measures we are taking or we have to take to control this pandemic infection. And then to do that, we have to first understand the virus. So we will also touch upon virus characteristics, and then what is its persistence or resistance towards different sanitizers or disinfectants. And then what all pharmaceutical controls, GMP controls, which are already in place, will control the pandemic infection in clean rooms and other areas. And then finally, I will take you through some of the case studies, how we have to identify the risks based on the activities and then mitigate. The Indian pharma sector is the third largest in the world. It manufactures almost 60% of the vaccines used globally required by the WHO organization, and the country meets 90% of the global demand for measles vaccine. Millions across the world use generic drugs produced by Indian drug manufacturers. India has been meeting more than 20% of the world and almost 50% of the US generic market. More than 250 facilities in the country have been approved by US FDA and MHRA UK. The country has a robust pharma sector which proven expertise in drug manufacturing. This got further highlighted when the country quickly ramped up the production of hydroxychloroquine, a key drug used in the fight against virus. And also Indian pharma companies are in the race for vaccine for COVID. Importance of the business continuity or continued operations in the pharma industry. Operation of pharma biological vaccine industry is important to ensure continued supply of human drugs that are life-supporting, life-sustaining, intended for use in the prevention of treatment or treatment of disease, used in the emergency medical care or drug surgery, critical to the public health during pandemic infection. While ensuring the continued supply, the focus should be towards protecting products and ultimately patients from infection, protecting workforce from the infection. Good practices designed to maintain continuity of supply. What kind of impact COVID has on pharma companies? Like other companies, pharma companies also got impacted by COVID pandemic. COVID-19 pandemic disrupted the supply chain across the world. Some Indian pharma facilities had to be shut as workers tested positive for COVID-19. Plants operated on reduced capacity during lockdown, which temporarily impacted supply of life-saving drugs. Challenges faced by pharma industry was like site closures, employee illness and absenteeism, supply chain disruptions, quarantines and social distancing, and travel restrictions. Below are the reported cases in some of the pharma majors, which everybody knows. What are the potential risks which will result in drug shortages? So the famous fishbone diagram, drug shortage happens because of the product quality, because product quality might be compromised because of reduced operations or reduced resources. Personal hygiene, safety, absenteeism, GMP manufacturing might be compromised. Availability of supplies like PPE kits and all. So these are all shortages will lead to shortage of drug supply. Oh, thank you. Sorry for that. So pharmaceutical employees involved in production and testing activities are deemed essential globally. Health authorities issued requests for pharmaceutical industry to work to avoid drug shortages. Challenge is to identify potential risks and measure to mitigate to protect our manufacturing facilities, employees, drug products, and customers. The potential risks associated with pandemic are categorized into two categories. One is direct risk posed to the employees and product, and the next is indirect risk posed to manufacturing and distribution activities, which is governed by the government policies of local and global or national. So, to go further, how to control or prevent infection, just we'll have a look how to understand this virus. Coronaviruses are lipid enveloped, single stranded, positive sense RNA viruses with 26 to 32 kilobases belonging to the genus coronaviruses, which include several relatively seasonal common cold viruses, and 3 new more virulent coronaviruses are listed below. Severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus, which is SARS-CoV, emerged in 2003. Middle East respiratory syndrome coronavirus, MERS-CoV, emerged in 2012, and SARS-CoV-2 that emerged in late 2019, last year this time. And then it became pandemic in 2020. So enveloped virus like SARS-CoV-2 are highly susceptible to cleaning agents and disinfectants above ambient temperature and survives on inanimate surfaces for several days. The individual coronavirus particles around 0.1 microns in size. N95 masks, we all know N95 masks, that the N95 refers to 95% efficiency to trap or become obstacle to the virus entry. One can have a doubt that how 0.3 micron filter can trap 0.125 micron virus. It's just because this virus cannot float alone, it will be associated with the droplets. Normally droplets will have a size of 5 microns. So 0.3 micron filter pore size can easily retain 5 micron droplets or aerosols. Even in clean rooms, we use HEPA filters, which will have 99.97% efficiency to trap 0.3 micron particles. So in that way, HEPA filters also can trap or obstruct the virus entry. So let us understand persistence of this virus on inanimate surfaces and their decontamination procedures. Studies reveal that human coronavirus such as severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus, Middle East syndrome virus, respiratory syndrome virus can persist on inanimate surfaces like metal, glass, plastic for 9 days. The SARS-CoV-2 is very resistant to alkaline treatments, and even more surprisingly, formaldehyde fumigation is not efficacious against dried surfaces or dried virus. Heat treatment, if you see heat treatment, this virus can sustain up to 58 degrees centigrade for 1 hour. To kill the virus at 58 degrees, you have to treat for 2 hours. At 68 degrees, 1 hour is enough. So that means this virus is somewhat heat resistant also. Alkaline treatment, pH of 11 is not efficacious, but pH 13 is efficacious. Drying the virus. If virus is dried on a surface, if you wanted to completely remove it, it takes 35 to 42 days on its own without any disinfection and cleaning. If you leave that surface like that, then if you wanted to see its absence, we have to wait for 35 to 40 days. Gaseous formaldehyde treatment. Just now in the morning, before sessions, one of the speaker explained how important is this gaseous fumigation step. So hydrogen peroxide is more efficient than formaldehyde, because study also reveals that log reduction after formaldehyde fumigation in liquid samples was greater than with the dried sample. The fumigation was not so efficacious on dried samples. If virus is already dried on the surface, formaldehyde fumigation will not work. Therefore, formaldehyde fumigation is not an efficient viral decontamination technique for dried virus at low relative humidity. So what are the potential sources of risk for contamination in pharma industry? Spread of infection across employees, contaminated workspaces or places, contamination risk from visitors, movement of contaminated vehicles inside the plant and warehouse, material recipient quality checking, risk of contamination after final packing. So how to avoid all these things? So we have understood about the virus resistance and persistence, and we also understand the pharma importance of business continuity plan. Then we have to now avoid this infection inside the plant. So the first and foremost thing is the personal discipline and personal health and safety. The biggest risk to the community at large and as such to the pharmaceutical supply chain is human to human transmission of the coronavirus. Protecting the health and safety of employees should be the top priority of companies. The following points should be considered, and as appropriate preventive measures should be taken. Ease of face mask. I think we will be getting bored about all this terminology, because I think last 6 to 9 months we have been hearing about the wearing of masks, PPEs, and the ease of sanitizer and all. But we have to bear with this virus and bear with this kind of practices. So you have to use face masks. You have to maintain physical distance. You have to frequently sanitize the surfaces at workplace and also your own hands. And screening of pharmaceutical employment at the point of entry for thermal scanner and all. And medical care, if any person has influenza-like symptoms, a cough or cold, they have to visit the doctor. And then you have to see if you have some morbidities, it is better to stay at home and not to come into the risk areas. And travel restrictions. If it is unavoidable, you can avoid travel. If it is unavoidable, then again use PPE and then sanitation practices. Use of disinfectants. Alcohol and bleach. These two are the famous disinfectant agents, which are cheaper, and we can easily remove this virus to the extent possible where the infection can be controlled. If you see alcohol, 62 to 71% ethanol is enough to kill the virus. WHO also recommends 70% alcohols, so which are more effective. And 0.5% hydrogen peroxide, just in the morning, he explained how hydrogen peroxide vapor phase will kill the virus. And 0.1% sodium hypochlorite. The cheapest solution is hypochlorite solution. Okay, this is available in households, hospitals, and pharma industry. So 0.1% sodium hypochlorite is enough to just kill the virus. Other biocides agents such as 0.05 to 0.2% benzalkylum chloride or 0.02 chlorohexidine digluconate are less effective. Large areas are just where to use what, when to use what. Large surface area to be disinfected, you use cheaper sodium hypochlorite solution, and small areas you can use alcohol drops. A concentration of 70% ethanol is also prescribed by the WHO. So use of PPE, already explained, mask, glove, gown, whatever is appropriate. Mask is compulsory, glove wherever it is required you have to use, and gown, coverall gowns where you are going to touch the life-saving drugs or open contact areas, or where you are going to handle a COVID suspected patient. It is benefit to use coveralls or gowning. The FDA defines some standards for this kind of PPEs. If you see N95 masks and all, they have to meet certain standards like ASTM and ISO, and the filter ratings are there, based on the retention power of 1 micron particles, greater than 92%, greater than 95%, and greater than 99%. And reduced particle generation, so the mask itself, the filter material used in the mask itself should not release or shed the particles, so which will we get irritated or allergic. So effective pore size are 1 or 0.45 and 0.1 micron, and is disposable or reusable, and sterility conditions, whether sterile masks or non-sterile masks, based on the conditions you have to use. Hand hygiene, this is very important thing. Normally behavioral aspects comes into picture when you talk about the hand hygiene. Many people have bad practice of having hand to mouth operations unnecessarily, and some people even have nail biting habits. So hand washing and sanitation are an essential component of CGMP controls designed to protect the product. In addition to these routine controls, additional hand sanitation stations should be established in non-GMP areas to mitigate the risk to employees. So normally in GMP clean rooms, we will have adequate number of sanitation stations. Because of pandemic situation, now we have to extend these sanitation stations out of the clean rooms also, other areas also, like restrooms, and then waiting halls, and right from gate entry to the core areas. So we have to keep frequent hand sanitation stations so that people can use them and then control the infection. So it was described that the students touch their face with their own hands on average of 23 times per hour, with contact mostly to the skin 56%, followed by mouth 36%, nose 31%, and eyes 31%. Use of WHO recommended hand antisepsis formulations, alcohol-based hand rubs or liquid gel foams are better to control any hand to mouth related infections. Gloves use and use. Normally gloved hand means the glove itself, it will never give protection. The gloved hand has to be again disciplinedly maintained. You have to again sanitize the gloved hand also if you touch some other object. So in Taiwan, it was described that installing more hand wash stations significantly reduced the infection to the health workers. So I have shown this picture how to rub the hands with the hand disinfectant. Apply the disinfectant to the dry hands. Vigorously rub the disinfectant into the hands up to the wrists. Carry out the movements of each step as shown below. Ensure that the hands remain moist throughout the rub time. So viral clearance by HVAC systems. As in the morning also, speakers they explained how clean rooms are controlled with respect to temperature, humidity, and then air changes and all. So normally clean rooms are fitted with HVAC systems and HEPA filters. So in manufacturing and packing areas in pharmaceutical GMP manufacturing plant will be served by heating, ventilating, and air conditioning systems to maintain target temperature, humidity, and number of air changes appropriate for each of these areas. In addition, clean rooms and other controlled areas where sterile drug products are manufactured are supplied with high efficiency particulate air, HEPA filtered air, to meet specified air cleanliness levels as well as more stringent requirements for temperature, relative humidity, space pressurization, and number of air changes per hour to prevent product contamination. The virus appears to be dispersed in large droplets and across aerosols, and HEPA filters retention capacity of 99.97 for 0.3 micron will largely mitigate the risk of the entry of the virus. In general, the level of environmental control, the personal protective equipment worn by clean room operators, and the cleaning and disinfection program will make it unlikely that the coronavirus will persist in clean rooms and contaminate the sterile drug products. So GMP manufacturing factors, previous sessions you have seen how GMP manufacturing itself, it is enough to contain this virus. Some of them current industry good practice that are already in place will pose low risk to the product contamination or employee contamination. In general, due to the stringent GMP practices already in place, such as clean room environment controls, cleaning and disinfection programs, and the personal protective equipment employed in the pharmaceutical industry are adequate to prevent COVID-19 viral contamination of sterile products manufactured in GMP compliant facilities. So normally GMP also applies QRM principles. In the morning, speakers already explained what kind of QRMs are applied. Like one of them is FMEA model, and one more model is the HACCP model. Whatever the model, whether it is qualitative or quantitative, whether it is high or low or moderate, with the GMP controls, stringent controls in place, most of the activities will fall into the moderate or low risk. So still the current GMP controls, you have to evaluate the adequacy of current GMP controls and components, drug containers, closures, in-process materials, and drugs from sick employees. Mitigate potential adverse effects on the safety and quality of drugs from an infected or potentially infected employee engaged in drug manufacturing. Employees who test positive for COVID-19, regardless of whether they have symptoms or asymptoms, should be excluded from the drug manufacturing areas. Ensure that employees practice good sanitation and health habits. Particularly, biological products might be susceptible for viral contamination because biological processes they will use cell lines, so which will be potentially susceptible for the viral contamination. So because this virus, particularly human virus, they will not grow on inanimate surfaces, but they will survive and available on the surfaces for several days or hours. So, but when a host cell line is available, then readily this virus will infect that particular host cell line. Only thing is we have to see whether that particular cell line is really susceptible and will lead to again cultivation of this virus along with the wanted virus for the vaccines. Prevention of transmission and contamination of drug by infected employee. So in case infected employee is identified, how to safeguard the products. Clean and sanitize the non-production areas, offices, elevators, break rooms, change rooms, and restrooms more frequently. Update procedures to institute more frequent cleaning, sanitation, and or sterilization of surfaces in the production areas, particularly surfaces that are contacted frequently, such as door handles, equipment latches, bench, countertops, and control panels. Special attention should be paid to sanitize sterilizing equipment and product contact surfaces. Consider using glove, face mask, and or gloving where such measures were not previously. Suppose in case of this particular situation, if earlier this particular area was not having stringent PPE controls. Now you institute these stringent PPE controls. Restrict unnecessary access to the manufacturing areas. If a potential or actual viral contamination event is identified, promptly clean, disinfect, sanitize, and if necessary, sterilize affected equipment, surfaces, production areas, and facilities before resuming for manufacturing. So these are all some case slides. So where how we have to identify the risks. So first of all, identifying the activities which will have risk is important. So we cannot identify each and everything is a risk. And also we have to remember that risk cannot be removed. Risk can be lowered. Okay. So now in this slide, this is for testing of incoming pharmaceutical ingredients, packing components, and intermediates and finished products. So certain activities like sampling of incoming material is identified as a risk. Why? Human intervention limited. Why? Because of human intervention, limited environmental controls in warehouse, and also it is a open operation. So the risk is moderate. Why it is moderate? Because we already the procedures will be in place, control measures are in place to use personal protective equipment and sampling booths and labeled sample containers. And one more activity is transportation to the testing areas. So once sample material is sampled, it will be taken to the facility inside. So that is also identified as a risk. So it is easily mitigated by using a surface disinfection of the containers and drums and shrink wraps and pallets. So that is rated as low. And the sample testing. So personnel will handle the sample, that is an open operation. So that is also identified as a risk. So why we have to identify this? This risk is with respect to the coronavirus contamination in pharma industry during certain activities. So we have to restrict to that particular thing only to do the risk assessment. When you are doing again product GMP risk assessment, we have to keep product contamination by the operations. So the risk assessment have a objective. What is objective? So that we have to do a risk assessment. So here is the objective is how to avoid contamination of the production product and employees with coronavirus. So in that aspect only this risk assessment slides are shown now here. So last is sample disposition. Once sample is analyzed, the unspent sample has to be disposed. So this is also rated as low because already controlled destruction procedures are in place. The next case is representative sterile drug products, liquid filled stopper glass vials during a COVID-19 pandemic situation. How whether sterile products manufactured in a plant during this pandemic situation will have a risk of having COVID virus contamination? Let us see. Incoming material sampling and testing. Just now we discussed sampling is invasive process. That means an open process. So that there is risk of virus contamination. So it is moderate. It is rated as moderate because sampling booths are used and personal protective equipments are used. Warehousing. There is a risk because the warehouse it will not be like a clean room environment or controlled environment. That much class is not required for warehouse. So there is a risk that the exterior surface of the drums or containers, packaged materials will have virus contamination. But this can be lowered. This risk rating can be lowered by improved environmental controls and sanitation practices. Ingredient weighing. Again, this is an open operation. We have to weigh for dispensing of the materials to the production, we have to weigh them. So that is an open operation. But again, with the additional measures, evaluate the weighing booths and then PPE, use of PPE and then improved environment control, this can be lower to moderate risk. Bulk solution preparation. Again, this is an open process. So we can again lower it or it will become moderate if you use following control measures like use of RABs and isolators or biosafety cabinets or LAFUs. Packing component preparation. Component loading and unloading is a potentially in phase, means again open process. So this risk can be lowered if you have critical control measures like automation of component handling, deportation of and sterilization of the vials and stoppers. So these are all already in place in pharma GMP. So the same pharma GMP stringent controls will become critical control measures, so which will mitigate the risk. Sterile filtration and aseptic filling and sealing. Aseptic processing is a potentially invasive process, means open process, but this can be lowered by using the labs or RABs or biosafety cabinets. Visual inspection. Visual inspection is again open process. So this risk can be rated as low because handling automation equipments and improved environmental controls and personal protective equipments can control the contamination, so it becomes lower. Packing and labeling. Packing is an invisible. So when you pack the final vial or tablet, so during that time there is a manual handling. So that is an open process. So that may pose risk. So that can be lowered by having again handling automation equipments and improved environmental controls and personal protective equipment. These are all just case studies and examples. So like this, you can identify any risk from your own manufacturing activities. So some more activities we identified as a case study, and then we have given how to mitigate them. Spread of infection across the employees. That is a risk. When even when we attend here, there is a risk that we may get contaminated and infected with the colleague participants. So, but it can be, see, however is the risk assessment, and then you rate it as low, moderate, and high. Only 3 things are there to mitigate. One is use mask, another is sanitize your hands regularly, and maintain social distance. These 3 are we have to live with, we have to bear with, and then we have to continue until a vaccine comes to reality and it reaches you and me. So mitigation measures: monitor the employees and the family members' health status. So we have to monitor the employee and their family health status. So how to do that? So simply now I think pharma industry, many of the companies, they introduced a digital employee health declaration system. So where employee will declare all his travel history, or whether he attended any gatherings, whether any family member is having a suspected case, or he has went to a place where there are suspected people. So he has to declare first and then start resume for work. So conduct a periodic medical checkup, including thermal scanning at the point of entry. Ask employees to report the confirmed cases of themselves or family members and stay at home for 14 days or until cleared by a doctor. Operating plant on rotational basis, like if in a room only 10 people can be accommodated, then if you have 30 people, just make them into groups and then rotate them. And then tracking of infection when it is identified. Isolate employees diagnosed at work and immediately disinfect anything they have come in contact with. Restrict non-essential travels and promote flexible working arrangements. Educate employees on COVID-19 symptoms and prevention through video audio conferences. Communicate personal hygiene good practices to employees and educate them on social distancing measures. Ensure masks, wipes, and other personal hygiene products to on-site employees. Enforce 14-day quarantine period for employees who are returning from restricted zones. Contamination in workplace. So again, once we suspect that fellow colleagues are having some symptoms, so that we may get human-to-human cross-contamination. So that kind of risk we mitigated earlier. Now here, once that area got exposed, then that is a risk for all other people who come in contact with. So how to mitigate that? I think by now people might have standard operating procedures for institutional preparedness against COVID. So same standard operating procedure might have stated additional steps that need to be taken to ensure sanitizations. Routinely clean all frequently touched surfaces in the workplace, such as workstations, keyboards, telephones, handrails, and doorknobs. Discourage workers from using other phones, desks, offices, or other work tools and equipment. Clean and disinfect them before and after use. And one more risk which is identified is contamination at warehouse. So normally warehouse receives materials from overseas, local, global materials. So there will be risk that the warehouse is a source for contamination. So frequently sanitize all warehouses and hubs with appropriate disinfectants. Check all warehouse employees for symptoms of being unwell and thermally scan all employees at entry. Ensure all employees handling products wear face masks and gloves. One more risk identified is contamination risk from visitors, contractors, and third-party staff. How to mitigate? Evaluate all options of online communication. So better to have a online communication with the vendors. If it is unavoidable only, then call them to physically attend. In case of entry is inevitable, sanitation and thermal screening of all external people who enter and exit. Ensure usage of masks and gloves while in the premises. Placement of adequate hand sanitizers in multiple locations. Placement of posters that encourage hand hygiene. Encouragement of use of non-contact methods of greeting. Inadequate social distance is also identified as a risk. So this happens mainly in canteens, where canteen area is small, and during the peak hours there will be a rush, and then many people will enter, and then there is a possibility that no social distance is maintained. So what is the mitigation measures? Mitigation measures are like extend the lunch hours. Don't say that 12 to 12:30 only you have to finish lunch. No, you make it 12 to 2 hours, and then stagger the employees. Like department wise, you can have lunch, or in a single go only 20 people are allowed. Such kind of restrictions you can keep to mitigate the social distancing requirement. Increase the area if it can be done in the canteen, and demarcate seating and standing areas in the canteen with adequate distance. Provide cleaning staff with PPEs. And then one more risk identified is the movement of contaminated vehicles in the plant or warehouse. How to mitigate? Just sanitize the vehicles used inside the plant premises. So next risk identified is the transmission of airborne particles via HVAC. Just now we discussed whether this is possible or not. So HVAC systems which are fitted with a HEPA filtered air, which will have 97.73 retention capacity, so will definitely trap this virus, because this virus cannot fly because it doesn't have wings. It will be obsessed with the droplets or aerosols, so that will be carried this virus. So if you stop that particular aerosols or droplets, then you can easily stop this virus. So HEPA filter retention capacity can ensure that this virus cannot enter. So in that way, this is mitigated. And quality checks of materials received. So just now we already discussed in one of the slide how quality checks means incoming material sampling and testing poses risk to the employees. So that can be mitigated by using again PPE and surface sanitization. Risk of contamination after final packing. So once drug is made, it will be finally packed, but that is again open operation. That can be mitigated by again disinfecting the consignment before delivery and share the pictures with the timestamp as evidence. So in summary, management need to focus on 3 areas to navigate the transition from initial crisis response to the next normal. Protect the workforce, formalize operating procedures, processes, and tools that help keep staff safe, build workforce confidence through effective two-way communication, manage risks to ensure business continuity, anticipate potential changes, and model the way the plant should react well ahead of the fluctuations to enable rapid and fact-based actions. Drive productivity at a distance. Continue to effectively manage the performance at the plant while physical distancing and remote working policies remain in place.